So what is up, guys? Brendan Suter back, and today we're here with NFL Week, Peyton Manning, Justin Jefferson, AJ Green, Aesop Winston, and Keith Kirkwood. Aesop Winston is currently on the Saints, and Keith Kirkwood was a New Orleans Saint. But it is Week 18 predictions. If you're looking to watch a certain matchup, timestamps are in the description box below. So click on that matchup you want to watch. Anyways, we have made it to the final week of predictions. I cannot believe we made it this far. Anyways, got two Saturday matchups. Most of the unimportant matches have been flexed to 1 o'clock, with the more important matches being flexed to 4 o'clock on Sunday, and then the most important being flexed to prime time. Anyways, 16 matches to get to with some more predictions afterwards. So without further ado, let's get this video started. So before I get to the very first prediction, I just want to say that I'm not going to be saying classic blank divisional rivalry match because everyone's playing someone in their division this week. Just want to get that out of the way before you ask that in the comments. But anyways, we're getting to our very first matchup on Saturday between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Denver Broncos. Starting off with the Chiefs, tough loss to the Cincinnati Bengals, 34-31, but it was one hell of a show. Patrick Mahomes threw for 259 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Lead rusher was Darrell Williams with 88 yards and 2 touchdowns, followed by Gore with 37 yards. Lead receiver was McCole Hardman, 1 reception, 53 yards. This game, Mahomes was spreading the ball out a lot. Followed up with Tyreek Hill, 6 receptions, 40 yards. And then Bell, 3 receptions, 35 yards. That was pretty much it. The defense just got completely exposed by Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. They just had one hell of a day over you. And they basically expired the whole clock as you took a few really bad penalties on the final drive. And that was a big factor that led into the Bengals win and why you didn't get a chance to touch the ball after you tied the game. Anyways, then on to the Broncos. This season has just been a complete disaster. Started 3-0 and have gone 4-9 in the last 13 games. Drew Lock threw for 245 yards, 1 touchdown, no pick. Kendall Hinton got to throw a pass. He completed it for 1 yard. Proud of him, man. Lead rusher was Melvin Gordon with 43 yards, followed by Javonte Williams with 30 yards. Look, the Chargers don't do a good job at stopping the run, but you can't be putting up those kinds of numbers. Lead receiver was actually Noah Fant, 6 receptions, 92 yards and a touchdown, followed by Cortland Sutton, 3 receptions, 60 yards, and then Williams, 1 reception, 34 yards. That was pretty much it. The defense just got completely exposed, but I can't really fault you for that because the Chargers have one hell of an offense. Anyways, Chiefs are 11.5-point favorites in this one. They still have a shot for the number 1 seed. They have to win, and the Titans have to lose. They're going to try this game, so Chiefs win and cover the spread. And now you have our very next matchup between the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. Starting off with the Cowboys, you guys have been really disappointing the last month. Despite your ass kicking against the Washington football team, your offense has not really looked too stellar. Dak Prescott threw for 226 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. A decent performance from him. He was also your lead rusher with 20 yards. Your rush game went nowhere. Elliott only had 16 yards and Pollard had 9. If you can't get that rush game going for the playoffs, I really don't see a chance of you guys going far. I could see you as a one and done. Lead receiver was actually Dalton Schultz, 6 receptions, 54 yards, followed by CeeDee Lamb, 3 receptions, 51 yards, and then Tony Pollard, 3 receptions, 49 yards. Michael Gallup followed that up with 3 receptions, 36 yards, and a touchdown, but he is out for the rest of the season with a torn ACL, so that is a huge loss to the receiving game. The defense had a lot of trouble against the Arizona Cardinals, but the Cardinals had a good rebound game, so I can't fault the defense too much for that. Although I will fault Trayvon Diggs, because he does have 11 picks, but has given up over 1,000 yards. People are describing him as Jameis Winston, but as a corner, and that's a good comparison. At least Jameis Winston has a buck, not a Saint. I'm offended if you think that's who he is as a Saint. But anyways, then on to the Eagles, a big 20-16 victory as you have clinched the NFC wildcard, so it's a good job, you guys, because I had no hopes for you this season. Jalen Hurts threw for 214 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. The rush game was definitely not as strong as it's been recently, but the pass game has been doing well. Boston Scott led rushing with 47 yards and 2 touchdowns, followed by Jalen Hurts with 44 yards, and then Jordan Howard with 26. Lead receiver was Dallas Goedert, 6 receptions, 71 yards. Devontae Smith, 3 receptions, 54 yards, and then Boston Scott, 4 receptions, 39 yards. That was pretty much it. The defense had a little bit of trouble with the Washington football team at the beginning, but in the end, they just completely shut them down and once again clinched the playoff spots. So good for you guys. Cowboys are 5-point favorites to win this one, and yeah, I'm going to say that they rebound, that they win, and cover the spread. And now you have our very first Sunday matchup between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens. Starting out with the Steelers, I called it. I said Big Ben would get the perfect send-off at Heinz Field. He had a decent game against the Browns, threw for 123 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, but he did get to knee out the final second. So I said he would walk out a hero. I called it. Anyways, but lead rush was Najee Harris with 188 yards and a touchdown. He had one long touchdown to kind of seal the game. So it was good to see. Lead receiver was McLeod with 4 receptions, 35 yards, followed by Deontay Johnson, 8 receptions, 31 yards, and a touchdown. And then Pat Freiermuth, 5 receptions, 22 yards. That was pretty much it. The defense did an excellent job at shutting down the Browns, but come on. Baker Mayfield led Browns. I would really expect you guys to pull off the victory. But your chance to make the playoffs are extremely slim because you have to beat the Ravens. The Colts have to lose to the Jaguars. And the Raiders and Chargers can't tie, but I'll get to the Raiders and Chargers later in the video. And then the Ravens, a tough loss to the LA Rams, 20-19. Tyler Huntley played a pretty solid game, threw for 197 yards, no touchdowns, and a pick. Lead rusher was Devontae Freeman with 76 yards. Huntley was also your lead rusher with 50, followed up with 54 yards. Then Latavius Murray with 31. Lead receiver, per usual, Mark Andrews, 6 receptions, 89 yards, followed by Rashad Bateman, 7 receptions, 58 yards, and then Hollywood Brown, 3 receptions, 28 yards. That was pretty much it. The defense did an excellent job with Matthew Stafford at first because they forced 3 turnovers from him, but collapsed them on the final drive. So, your season, you guys just got super unlucky. Injuries completely plagued you guys, especially the secondary and the running game. And the big one came with Lamar Jackson. But, Tyler Huntley has played really well in place of him. He's either going to be their backup or a team's going to get desperate and pay him a lot of money to be their starter. Now, if you thought the Steelers' chances of making it to the playoffs were tough, man, the Ravens have it even harder because they have to beat the Steelers and they need the Chargers, Dolphins, and the Colts all to lose just so they can make the playoffs. Anyways, Ravens are 5.5-point favorites to win this one, but you know what? Big Ben's going to get justice in his final game, pull out a clutch game-winning drive as the Steelers pull off the upset and stay alive. And now you have our very next matchup between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns. Starting out with the Bengals, wow. I said you guys would get your asses kicked last week, but holy shit, you guys pulled up clutch with a 34-31 victory over the Kansas City Chiefs as you won the AFC North for the first time since 2015. Excellent job out to you guys. Now comes the next task. Can you snap the longest current playoff win drought in the NFL? Because that currently is held by you guys, followed by the Detroit Lions. Anyways, Joe Burrow had an excellent game again, threw for 446 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Lead rush was Joe Mixon with 46 yards. He is going to be out with this game with COVID, but they're also going to be benching Joe Burrow, which is pretty smart because they really can't do much better than third because the Chiefs would have to lose to the Broncos, and that's honestly not that realistic. But Jamar Chase, proving the doubters wrong, especially myself. I definitely thought it was questionable that you took Chase over Sewell, but damn, 11 receptions, 266 yards, and 3 touchdowns, followed by T. Higgins, 3 receptions, 62 yards, and then Joe Mixon, 7 receptions, 40 yards. That was pretty much it. The defense was not so good against the Chiefs in the first half, but in the second half, you just completely locked them down, held them to 3 points in the second half, and that was a huge factor that led into your victory, as well as your final drive. And then the Cleveland Browns. I can't believe I said this team was going to win the Super Bowl in week 1. They were my team to make the Super Bowl. I look like a fucking idiot because of that. Baker Mayfield, you absolutely suck. Threw for 185 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. He is getting shut down for the rest of the season, and good riddance. In comes Case Keenum. Not much better, though. Maybe slightly, but who knows. Anyways, lead rush was Nick Chubb with 58 yards, followed by Baker Mayfield with 16. Lead receiver was Donovan Peoples-Jones with 3 receptions, 76 yards, followed by Jarvis Landry, 4 receptions, 43 yards. And then David Njoku, 4 receptions, 28 yards, and a touchdown. The defense did a decent job against the Steelers, but just completely fell apart to Najee Harris as he completely carried the load for the Steelers. Anyways, Browns are 6-point favorites to win this one. And despite that, I'm going to get this one to the Bengals because the Browns are just completely disappointing me this season, and I think they'll disappoint everyone again. And now you have our very next matchup between the Washington football team and the New York Giants. Starting off with the football team, a tough loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. You led for most of the game, but Philly just clawed into it at the end. Taylor Heineke threw for 247 yards, no touchdowns and a pick. Lead rusher was James Patterson with 57 yards and a touchdown, followed by Taylor Heineke with 14. Lead receiver was Scary Terry, 7 receptions, 61 yards, followed by Sims with 4 receptions, 48 yards, and then Patterson, 5 receptions, 41 yards. That was pretty much it. The defense, like I said, did a good job against Philly in the first half, but then completely collapsed them in the second half. But the biggest headline is how much of a mess your stadium is, as fans were leaning over just to give Jalen Hurts a high five, and the rail collapsed. I'm surprised none of them dealt with a serious injury, but the football team didn't care. They literally just secured it afterwards with zip ties. And honestly, your season's just been an absolute disappointment. I had you guys winning the NFC East, but Turns out your defense was just all hype, no action, and Taylor Heineke proved that he may not exactly be the answer as Washington's quarterback. And then the New York Giants. That was, if you thought the football team was bad, you were even worse, and so is your season. Mike Glennon threw for 24 yards, no touchdowns, 2 picks. He had as many completions as he did turnovers. And if you look at his net passing yards, he only had negative. The net passing yards was -10. Me, sitting on this chair, watching every single game, I had more passing yards than him. Everyone else did. So that's just, oh God. Then Saquon Barkley led rushing with 102 yards, proving that he's still got something left in the tank. Followed by Devontae Booker with 46. Lead receiver was Evan Ingram, 1 reception, 12 yards. And then Sills, 1 reception, 12 yards. And that was pretty much it. The defense just collapsed to Andy Dalton and the Chicago Bears, so that's definitely tough. Washington football team are 7-point favorites to win this one, and yeah, they win and cover the spread. And now you have our very next matchup between the Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings. Starting off the Bears, I thought your season would be just a complete disaster, and I was right. Hopefully Matt Nagy gets shown the door after this. But you did pull out a 29-3 victory over the New York Giants. Andy Dalton threw for 173 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Dave Montgomery actually threw a pass, and he got picked off. But Montgomery made up for that as he ran for 64 yards and 2 touchdowns, hopefully winning some people some fantasy championships. Followed up, lead receiver was Darnell Mooney, 7 receptions, 69 yards, nice, and a touchdown. And then Allen Robinson. Where the hell were you all season? You had an okay performance though, 4 receptions, 35 yards, but still, come on, man. It just hurts. Then Cole Kmet, 3 receptions, 25 yards. That was pretty much it. The defense, just come on. You shut down Mike Glennon. Am I supposed to be impressed? No, I'm really not. And then the Minnesota Vikings. This season has just been a complete disappointment. You had so many losses in this game that were by 1 score. And, I love how everyone just blames Kirk Cousins. And I've said this before. Kirk Cousins is a problem, not the problem. And I think he was one of the bigger highlights on the Vikings this year. Mike Zimmer just can't do it anymore. As well, I think he's going to get shown the door. Cousins was out last game, so in came in Sean Mannion, 189 yards, 1 touchdown, no pick. Wasn't terrible, but what was really terrible was the lack of rushing, because Mannion ran for 14 yards, followed by Dalvin Cook with 13. You only ran the ball 11 times. The Packers don't do that well against the rush, and yes, they did have a massive lead on you, but why not use Cook more? A lot of fantasy owners are going to be super pissed off about that. I don't have Cook in any of my leagues, so thank God. Then lead receiver was Justin Jefferson, 6 receptions, 58 yards, followed by KJ Osborne, 3 receptions, 50 yards, and a touchdown. Then Tyler Conklin, 5 receptions, 47 yards. That was pretty much it. The defense just got humiliated by the Packers, but I can't fault them for that. Packers are extremely good. Minnesota Vikings are 5.5-point favorites to win this one, and I'm going to say that they win, but don't cover the spread. And now you have our very next matchup between the Tennessee Titans and the Houston Texans. Starting off with the Titans, you guys have just completely shocked me this season. After Derrick Henry got injured, I thought this would be a flop. I thought maybe you would still squeak in the playoffs, maybe win the division, but nothing more than that. But no, you could get the number 1 seed. All you got to do is just win this game. And it's against the Texans. You should. Anyways, you just humiliated the Miami Dolphins, 34-3. Ryan Tannehill threw for 120 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Dante Foreman was your lead rusher with 132 yards and a touchdown, followed by Dontrell Hilliard, 45 yards and a touchdown. Lead receiver was A.J. Brown, 2 receptions, 41 yards, followed by Hilliard with 3 receptions, 33 yards, and then Andy Fursker, 3 receptions, 24 yards, and a touchdown. The defense just completely shut down a all-hype but no-action Miami Dolphins squad. So, like I said, you could still get the number 1 seed here, but if you lose, you're probably not going to get the number 1 seed. So I would advise not to screw around and just get it done. And also, Derrick Henry could actually be back for the playoffs. So if you get that number 1 seed, you can get the week off, and Henry can come back strong in the divisional round. And then the Texans, tough loss, but is the Davis Mills hype over? Somewhat. He threw for 163 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, but this was against a stout 49ers defense, so I can't fully fault him for that. Lead rush was Rex Burkhead with 47 yards, followed by Freeman with 25 yards. Lead receiver was Brandon Cooks, 7 receptions, 66 yards, and a touchdown, followed by Nick Collins, 2 receptions, 35 yards, and then Rex Burkhead, 6 receptions, 32 yards. That was pretty much it. The defense struggled. They did a good job at first with the 49ers, but then collapsed in the second half, but it's okay. The 49ers are doing super well this season. Anyways, Titans are 10.5-point favorites to win this one. I'm going to say that they win, but don't cover the spread. I'm going to say that they screw around a little bit, but get their shit together at the end. And now you have our very next match between the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions. Starting out with the Packers, yeah, that was just an absolute exposition of the Minnesota Vikings. Aaron Rodgers threw for 288 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks as he's trying to rally out another MVP campaign. Lead rusher was Aaron Jones with 76 yards, followed by A.J. Dillon, 63 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So a good day on the ground, but lead receiver per usual. Who else but Devontae Adams? 11 receptions, 136 yards, and a touchdown, followed by Allen Lazard, 6 receptions, 72 yards, and then Aaron Jones, 5 receptions, 30 yards. That was pretty much it. The defense just completely shut down the Minnesota Vikings, even though they barely tried to run the ball. So, but in the end, is what it is. Good win. And then the Lions just got their asses kicked by the Seahawks, 51-29. Tim Boyle threw for 262 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 picks. Lead rush was DeAndre Swift with 32 yards, followed by Amon-Ra St. Brown with 23 yards and a touchdown. And Amon-Ra St. Brown also led receiving 8 receptions, 111 yards, and a touchdown, followed by Hodge, 5 receptions, 76 yards, and then Benson, 2 receptions, 31 yards. That was pretty much it. And the defense just got exposed by the Seahawks. Now, Lions, I know your season was pretty disappointing, but, you pulled off a few good moments there, especially your first win of the season. That was just completely exciting, as well as the emergence of Amon-Ra St. Brown, especially for those people who won their fantasy football championships by picking him up off waiver wire mid-season. So that's pretty big. Now, Packers are 3.5-point favorites to win this one, but I'm actually going to say that the Lions pull off the upset here. And the reason why is because the Packers already have the number 1 seed. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to end up playing the whole game. I don't think you want to risk Aaron Rodgers possibly getting injured and missing the playoffs because that would completely ruin it. And I feel like the Packers are going to be sitting out a lot of their star players just to give them extra rest going into the divisional round. So give me the Lions. And now you have our very next matchup between the Indianapolis Colts and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Starting off with the Colts, this game is do or die because you don't want to lose to the Jaguars because that could basically knock you right out of the playoffs. But anyways, starting off, you lost the Raiders 23-20. Carson Wentz threw for 148 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. Lead rusher, obviously, Jonathan Taylor with 108 yards and a touchdown. Lead receiver was Michael Pittman Jr., 6 receptions, 47 yards, followed by T.Y. Hilton, 1 reception, 45 yards and a touchdown. And then Mo Alley Cox, 3 receptions, 28 yards. That was pretty much it. The defense was unable to shut down the Raiders. They had a couple of good stops against them, but in the end, the Raiders just pulled out on top, which is very disappointing. And then the Jaguars just got schooled by the Patriots, lost 50-10. They're the only team they actually are the only team to ever be in 2 50-10 games. They lost both. Trevor Lawrence threw for 193 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 picks. It's not been a good rookie season for him. Now, definitely a huge part of that was due to Urban Meyer, but, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because, it's not exactly the best situation that he was thrown into. Lead rusher was Agun Boal with 36 yards, and then Armstead with 28. Lead receiver was Laquan Treadwell. He's been surprisingly doing well this season. 6 receptions, 87 yards, followed by Marvin Jones Jr., 2 receptions, 46 yards, and then Agun Boal with 2 receptions, 32 yards, and a touchdown. The defense just got completely schooled by the Patriots. The Colts, they are 15.5-point favorites to win this one, but the only thing that's going up against them is history because they have not won a game in Jacksonville since September 21st, 2014. But the Colts are going to emerge victorious as they win and cover the spread. And now you have our very first 4 o'clock matchup between the New York Jets and the Buffalo Bills. Starting off with the Jets. Disappointing season, like I expected. But you almost beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but fell short 28-24. Zach Wilson threw for 234 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. Good day for him. Lead rusher was Michael Carter, but the only one to get a rushing touchdown. Oh, actually, there were 2. It was Braxton Berrios and Ty Johnson. But Braxton Berrios was also your lead receiver, 8 receptions, 65 yards, and a touchdown, followed by Ty Johnson, 3 receptions, 47 yards, and then your boy, that's actually a thing, 2 receptions, 36 yards. That was pretty much it. The defense, did a good job with the Buccaneers at first, but at the end, you guys completely collapsed. But, the fact that Antonio Brown may have ruined his NFL career in front of you guys at MetLife Stadium, that's the only points I'm going to give you for this season. So good job for that, because I hate Antonio Brown. Then the Buffalo Bills, big victory over the Atlanta Falcons, although it was kind of sloppy. Josh Allen really struggled in the pass game, threw for 120 yards, no touchdowns, 3 picks, under 50% completion percentage. The first half was rough for him, but in the second half, he picked it up, so good for him. Lead rusher was Devin Singletary with 110 yards and 2 touchdowns. If he can keep that up for the playoffs, that's going to be huge for the Bills' offense. And then Josh Allen ran for 81 yards and 2 touchdowns, so the rush game was at least strong. Lead receiver was Stephon Diggs, 5 receptions, 52 yards, followed by Greg Davis, 3 receptions, 40 yards, and then Cole Beasley, 2 receptions, 22 yards. That was pretty much it. The defense struggled against the Falcons in the first half, but locked them down in the second half, so good job to you guys. Bills are currently 16-point favorites to win this one. I'm going to say that they win and cover the spread. And now you have our very next matchup between the Carolina Panthers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Starting out with the Panthers. Oh, you guys got completely humiliated by the Saints, lost 18-10. Sam Darnold, despite an excellent first 2 drives, was horrific as he threw for 132 yards, no touchdowns, and a pick. Lead rush was Chuba Hubbard as he had a solid day, 55 yards and a touchdown, followed by Amir Abdul with 21. Lead receiver was actually Ian Thomas, 3 receptions, 33 yards, followed by Amir Abdullah, 4 receptions, 31 yards, and then DJ Moore, 3 receptions, 29 yards. That was pretty much it. The defense just, they did a good job against the Saints, but our offense is inept. But the Saints' offense was able to produce a little bit more than you. So that hurts. And yeah, your season's also been a massive disappointment as, once again, 3-0 start like the Denver Broncos only because you're facing weak competition. Ever since then, you guys have just been a disaster, and there is a lot of turmoil between Matt Rule and the Carolina Panthers. So who knows if he keeps his job. And then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it was humiliating how you almost lost the New York Jets. But you pulled out in the end. Tom Brady threw for 410 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Lead rusher was Keyshawn Vaughn with 31 yards, followed by Ronald Jones with 26. Lead receiver was Rob Gronkowski, 7 receptions, 115 yards, followed by Cyril Grayson, 6 receptions, 81 yards and a touchdown. And then Johnson, 4 receptions, 50 yards, and that was pretty much it. But of course, the highlight of the game was Antonio Brown basically being thrown out of the game by the Buccaneers. So, of course, takes off his pads, takes off his shirt, starts hyping up the crowd, and leaves. Look, this man's NFL career is over. Like, there's no way he comes back. And Antonio Brown being gone really hurts you guys for the playoffs because you might be missing Fournette for the playoffs. You're not going to have Godwin, no AB. So the running game and the receiving room is a little bit weaker, and I'm not sure if Tom Brady, can he work with that? That's going to be the big question. The defense struggled with the Jets at first, but we were able to shut them down at the end. Bucs are 8-point favorites to win this one. I'm going to say that they win and cover the spread. And now you have our very next matchup between the New England Patriots and the Miami Dolphins. Starting out of the Patriots, yeah, you guys just completely destroyed the Jacksonville Jaguars 50-10. I'm surprised that these two teams even played the AFC Championship game in 2017. Anyways, Mac Jones threw for 227 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Lead rusher was actually Stevenson with 107 yards and 2 touchdowns, but Damian Harris followed it up with 35 yards and 2 touchdowns. Lead receiver was Kendrick Bourne, 5 receptions, 76 yards, followed by Jacoby Myers, 8 receptions, 73 yards, and a touchdown. I think that's his second career touchdown. And then Wilkerson, 4 receptions, 42 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The defense just made Trevor Lawrence's life a living hell, and therefore, as well as the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, I've been pretty impressed with the Patriots this year. I thought you guys were going to be rolling with Cam Newton, but after cutting him, Mac Jones has stepped up, did what he needed to do, and you guys are in the playoffs again, which I'm not too thrilled about, but it's whatever. Credit to where credit's due. And then the Dolphins. The narrative of your 7-game win streak is over. Everyone's hyping you up, but you guys faced extremely easy competition, and you were just flat out exposed. Tua Tagovailoa threw for 205 yards, no touchdowns, and a pick. Lead rusher was Duke Johnson with 49 yards, followed by Myles Gaskin with 23. Lead receiver was Mike Gesicki with 51 yards, followed by Jalen Waddle, 3 receptions, 47 yards, and then Devontae Parker, 4 receptions, 46 yards. That was pretty much it. The defense just completely collapsed to Tennessee's run game without Derrick Henry, so that's definitely a few asterisks behind you. Now, I had you guys as a 7 seed. Now, I thought it was impressive how you lost 7 in a row only to win 7 in a row, but of course, that weak competition was a complete sticking point, and I had hope in you, and you blew it, and you're out of the playoffs. So, huge disappointment. Patriots are 6.5-point favorites to win this one. I'm going to say that they win, but don't cover the spread. This is going to be played in Miami, New England's number 1 weakness. And now you have our very next matchup between the Seattle Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals. Starting out with the Seahawks, this season has just been a complete disappointment. Russell Wilson getting injured kind of exposed the main flaws that are with this team, and I fear that a rebuild is coming, and I think it should come mainly by firing Carroll and starting by trading Wilson if you are going to be committed to that rebuild. But at least Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll got a nice send-off in their and possibly their final home game as Seahawks with a 51-29 victory over the Detroit Lions. Russell Wilson balled out for 236 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Lead rusher was Rashad Penny as he's broken out these last few games, had 170 yards and 2 touchdowns. Lead receiver was Freddie Swain, 2 receptions, 65 yards, followed by DK Metcalf, 6 receptions, 63 yards, and 3 touchdowns. What a game by him. And then Gerald Everett, 3 receptions, 36 yards. That was pretty much it. The defense did a good job against the Lions in the first half. Let their foot off the gas in the second half, but overall, just a good victory for you guys. And then the Cardinals, I know I was complaining about your inconsistency, but Kyler Murray completes his undefeated streak at AT&T Stadium, including high school, college, and the NFL, so that's impressive. As he threw for 263 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Lead rusher was Chase Edmonds with 53 yards, followed by Kyler Murray with 44. Christian Kirk led receiving with 6 receptions for 79 yards. A.J. Green followed up with 3 receptions, 74 yards. And then Zach Ertz, 7 receptions, 41 yards. Only one to have a touchdown was Wesley, so bit of a shock, but is what it is. The defense did a pretty good job at containing the Dallas Cowboys, and one thing I will say about the Arizona Cardinals, I didn't really have many hopes about you guys making the playoffs. I just thought that Cliff Kingsbury was gonna hold you back of your full potential, but you guys completely shocked me. Now, he may hold you back of your full potential in the playoffs, but we'll see about that. Cardinals are 6-point favorites to win this one. I'm going to say that they win and cover the spread. And now you have our very next matchup between my boys in the New Orleans Saints and the Atlanta Falcons. Starting out with the Saints, a crucial victory over the Carolina Panthers as we won 18-10. The hopes are still alive for the playoffs. All we have to do is beat the Falcons, and the Rams have to lose the Rams have to beat the 49ers, and we're in. Probably going to get our asses kicked, but I want to be in the playoffs. Anyways, Taysom Hill threw for 222 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. He was also your lead rusher with 45 yards, and followed it up with Alvin Kamara with 32. Lead receiver was Marquez Callaway, 6 receptions, 97 yards, proving that he could still be a legitimate wide receiver. But can he stay consistent? Only time will tell. Followed up with Alvin Kamara, 5 receptions, 68 yards, and a touchdown. And then Lil Jordan Humphrey, 2 receptions for 26 yards. That was pretty much it. The defense did an excellent job at shutting down the Panthers after they allowed scores on the first 2 drives. Since then, lethal. Just shut them down. So good job, boys. And then the Falcons, you led at halftime, but then just blew it. It was only a 1-point lead, so I can't really fault you for that. Matt Ryan threw for 197 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Mike Davis ran for 42 yards and a touchdown. Lead receiver was Kyle Pitts, 2 receptions, 69 yards. Nice. And then Russell Gage, 3 receptions, 50 yards. And then Pat Hesse, 3 receptions, 31 yards. That was pretty much it. The defense did a good job against the passing game of the Bills, just not so much the rush. But I will say, I was pretty surprised by you guys this season. I definitely thought you guys were going to be a lot worse than 7-9, which is what you are now. But the main point of last game that cost you was Matt Ryan running in for a touchdown on a 4th and goal, celebrating by taunting Jordan Poyer. Well, he got flagged for that, and turns out he was down. His knee was down, and they ended up missing the field goal. So, yeah, karma's a bitch. Anyways, Saints are 4.5-point favorites on this one, and yeah, Saints win and cover the spread. And now you have our final 4 o'clock matchup between the San Francisco 49ers and the LA Rams, the second most concerning matchup for me, because obviously Saints have to win, because if we lose the Falcons, we're just done. But of course, we need the Rams to beat the 49ers. Anyway, starting out with the 49ers, a big 23-7 victory over the Houston Texans. Trey Lance had a little bit of trouble in the first half, but turned it up in the second half as he had 249 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Lead rusher was Elijah Mitchell with 119 yards, so good performance by him. Lead receiver was Brandon Ayuk, 4 receptions, 94 yards, followed by Deebo Samuel, 3 receptions, 63 yards, and a touchdown. And then George Kittle, 1 reception, 29 yards. That was pretty much it. The defense just completely shut down the Houston Texans, but that was kind of expected. Now, I'm pretty impressed with how you guys did this season. I actually did say you would be a playoff team, but I hope you don't make it, just because I want to make it in the playoffs. And then the Rams, you guys were lucky to get out of Baltimore alive with a 20-19 victory. Matthew Stafford had a rough game, threw for 309 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, and also lost a fumble. He just turned it up in the last quarter, but it was just good enough for you guys to win against a battered Ravens squad. Lead rusher was Sony Michel with 74 yards and a touchdown. Lead receiver, per usual, Cooper Kupp, 6 receptions, 95 yards, followed by Tyler Higbee, 6 receptions, 69 yards. Nice. Van Jefferson, 4 receptions, 63 yards, and then Odell Beckham Jr., 5 receptions, 39 yards, and the game-winning touchdown. The defense definitely struggled a little bit against the Ravens, against Tyler Huntley, but in the end, you guys pulled out the victory. Now, Rams are favorites to win this one, and the thing that has me concerned about the Rams, I want them to win, because it betters the odds of the Saints making the playoffs. But what gets me concerned is that, number one, Matthew Stafford's been playing like crap the last couple of games, so if he plays like crap against the 49ers, there's no way that the Saints can make it in. And also, Sean McVay's record against Kyle Shanahan, because Kyle Shanahan has just always had Sean McVay's number, but I'm going to say that the Rams win and cover the spread. And now you have our Sunday Night Football matchup between the LA Chargers and the Las Vegas Raiders. Basically, whoever wins this is guaranteed a spot in the playoffs. Anyway, starting off with the Chargers. Big 34-13 victory over the Denver Broncos. Justin Herbert threw for 237 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Lead rush was Austin Eckler with 58 yards and a touchdown. Lead receiver was Mike Williams, 3 receptions, 63 yards, followed by Austin Eckler, 3 receptions, 54 yards, and then Keenan Allen, 4 receptions, 44 yards, and a touchdown. That was pretty much it. The defense did an excellent job at shutting down the Broncos, and you did a good job at limiting the rush attacks. That is very impressive because you guys have not done a good job at stopping the rush. Now, you guys have impressed me this season, but what has me concerned is your consistency, because going into the playoffs, you don't want to be having one of your off games, because that's just going to completely kill your chances of winning the Super Bowl. And then the Raiders, a big 23-20 victory over the Indianapolis Colts. I think if you had lost that one, you would pretty much be out of the playoff picture. Derek Carr threw for 255 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Lead rusher was Josh Jacobs with 63 yards and a touchdown. Lead receiver was actually Zay Jones, 8 receptions, 120 yards, followed by Hunter Renfrow, 7 receptions, 76 yards, and a touchdown. And then Rashard, 1 reception, 19 yards. That was pretty much it. The defense was just able to stop the Indianapolis Colts, limit Jonathan Taylor as much as they could, and pulled out a clutch victory in the end. Now, I've also been shocked by you guys this season. Now, I think John Gruden having to resign from the team was probably best for you, because I think if he was around, there was no way you would have made the playoffs, and I think he would have been shown the door. But Rich Bisaccia, he's done a decent job in his place, so props out to him. Now, here's the funny thing. If the Colts lose to the Jaguars, the Chargers and Raiders, if they tie, will end up making the playoffs. So maybe if the Colts lose, they'll just need the whole game out. Now, I'm just kidding. That could cause a whole league-wide scandal. Chargers are 3-point favorites to win this one. I'm going to say that they win and cover the spread. All right, so with all the matchup predictions out of the way, so this is what the playoff picture would look like if all my predictions are correct. So in the AFC, the 1 seed would be the Titans, followed by the Chiefs, Bengals, and the Bills. And then we get to the wild card section. That would be the Patriots, Colts, and Chargers as wild card teams, in that order. And then the NFC side would have the Packers as the number 1 seed. They already have that locked up. Followed by the Rams, Buccaneers, and the Cowboys. And in the wild card, you'd have the Arizona Cardinals, Philadelphia Eagles, and of course, my boys in the New Orleans Saints. Now, before I go to the outro, I want to give one last prediction for this video, and that is my Black Monday predictions. Now, what Black Monday is, it's the first day after the NFL regular season ends, and it's mainly associated by head coaches getting fired. So I've got 4 coaches who I'm pretty sure are going to get fired, and that's Matt Nagy, coach of the Bears, Mike Zimmer, coach of the Vikings, Vic Fangio, coach of the Broncos, and Pete Carroll, coach of the Seahawks. Now, there's also 3 other guys that I think could get fired and should get fired, but are probably going to stick around for one more season. Now, Matt Rule, I'm completely on the fence about, but even though there's turmoil between him and the Panthers, I think he's going to keep his job, although it wouldn't shock me if he gets fired. But I think Matt Rule keeps his job. Next up, we got David Culley, head coach of the Texans. I think management's going to keep him around because, yeah, he was given nothing, yet still put up so far a 4-12 season and showed progress with Davis Mills. Now, I think he should be gone, but I think the Texans will keep him around. And finally, Joe Judge. I think he should get fired, but of course, the Giants announced that they're going to be bringing back him and Daniel Jones. So nothing's going to change there. But those last 3 coaches are guys I think should get fired, but are going to stick around. Onto the outro. And that is going to wrap up my video for today. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and thank you all for sticking around throughout the entire 2021 season. It was one hell of a season. Anyways, if you want to watch Saints and Panthers recap, click right over here. If you like this video, drop a like, subscribe my channel if you haven't already by clicking over here, or the subscribe button down below would mean a whole lot to me. Comment down below what you have for this week. What's your upset of the week, lock of the week? Is your team in the playoffs, and what seed will they be? Make sure to follow me on all my social medias, Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok at Brendan Suter. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day. I will see you for my Saints and Falcons recap. Hopefully I'm not salty for that. And then my playoff predictions. Anyways, Who Dat Nation in desperation mode is out.